gonna be strong with us. We the type of people make a cupcake crumb. Say, I have set this one. Amaru Moses be the one with us. Producer man Trump and Trump with us. We the type of people make a cupcake crumb. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Setlist number 1. We're here. I'm gonna put this away. But yeah, this is the show that we're doing opposite the other show that we still haven't figured out yet. As you heard in the intro, producer man is here. He is the one that is going to be bump and crump with us. Yeah. First guest today is Amaru Moses. Very fun person to talk to with music. Let's get him on here. So it's 10 questions for those of you who are checking in for the first time. We'll start off with the first question. Rue, who is your favorite artist?
Quick question before that. Do you already regret having me on, whether you edit that part out or not?
Not at all. I'm very excited to. No, I'm very excited for a lot of these answers. So, let's hear your favorite artist.
So there were a lot of people that came to mind when it comes to this, because there are a lot of different people would consider my automatic answer to be one thing or another. So I ended up asking my wife Mastawal, and she immediately said, "Oh, it's Lupe Fiasco." Lupe Fiasco. I was like, "It's not Nas? No, it's Lupe Fiasco." But I listen to Nas a lot. The music so talented. It's Lupe Fiasco. Shut the hell up. So it's Lupe Fiasco. And probably just because I think he has 2 of my favorite albums of all time. I think he's one of the most underrated rappers. I think he's one of the most talented rappers ever. I think the thing that has him not come forefront to my mind sometimes is because his later work is a lot more, I don't know how to say it, a lot more thoughtful, they're not as easy as listens. So they're really lyrically dense. But his first 2 albums, some of the songs off his 3rd album, Lasers, and his mixtapes are by far these songs I listen to over and over and over and over and over again. Food and Liquor and The Cool, if I could, they're both in like my top 5 hip hop albums of all time. If not top 10. They are absolutely just easy. They're the perfect balance of incredible lyricism and extremely great beats. And they have just transcended time. Like at any point in time when you listen to it, it still hits, it still bumps. And I just think he's amazing. I love listening to his songs. So
yeah, when you threw in Lupe Fiasco, I was like, okay, this is gonna be an interesting ride. I've only ever known him as I think he featured on like a Kanye West song, and that was like
Touch the Sky. Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't get to check out the mixtape that he did in 2005. But as you were mentioning, Food and Liquor and The Cool, I will agree with you that his early stuff is unreal. It makes perfect sense as to why he is your favorite artist, because I think there's some commonalities in your personality where it's like you guys are both very positive and you're very generally upbeat. But then there's also just that little bit of swagger that he carries, whether it's in his beat or whether it's in the lyrics. And also, what I found in Lupe is that he has lyrics that will grab you right away, and you're one of the people that I think of first when I think of songs that just kind of grab you right out of the gate. So we look at 2006 Food and Liquor. Kick and Push was a favorite of mine there.
Which is funny because it's funny. Kick Push is like the album front to back is great, but Kick Push is like one of the weakest songs on the album, which is hilarious. It's a classic, but it's the one everybody knows. Everything else on that album is almost better than Kick Push. Yeah, damn near everything on it is better than Kick Push.
Hurt Me Soul was the song that made me like me.
Yes.
But yeah, so the opening lyrics of that one, now I ain't trying to be the greatest. I used to hate hip hop, because the woman degraded. And I was like, okay, cool. I really
you can't leave out too short, made me laugh. Like a hypocrite, I stated. You can't leave out too short, sir. You have to finish it too short.
Yeah, and then we move on to the Cool, which would have been 2007, and you're right there. It's another kind of carrying of that same style. It's always great whenever you have Snoop Dogg appear on your second album.
Which again, funny enough, is the only bad song on that entire album. It's an okay track, the one with him and Snoop, but it is the one slight blemish on the entire thing is the one with Snoop. It's the most simple. It's the most it's the most mainstream. Snoop is not like old school Snoop on it. He's old new Snoop where he can say anything on the track and you'll enjoy it, but only enjoying it because it's Snoop. Everything else, if you haven't listened to the Cool, it's not only a great album with great songs, it's a concept album, and it is just an amazing concept in itself.
Other ones I want to mention on that one, Go Go Gadget Flow was a bop. What were other ones? Hello Goodbye, I believe was a great one,
With
and
Uncle, Little
with Uncle, yeah.
Weapon, Gold Watch, Go Baby, Fighters, The Coolest, Put You on Game, where he is the personification of death, is so dark and so gritty and so damn good. Streets on Fire, you can basically list every single song except the one that Snoop is on, and you're like, it's a 5 out of 5 song. Where the one with Snoop is like a 3.5 out of 5 song. But even then, you don't skip it. The Cool is I think my second favorite hip hop album of all time, maybe my second favorite album of all time.
Now we get into
real quick. He released 2 back-to-back banger classics in the 2000s. 2 of the greatest albums of the 2000s.
I would say Food and Color is definitely in like the top 20. Sorry, Food not Food and Color. Food and Liquor. It's literally right here on the fucking screen. I would put that in my top 20 hip hop albums ever. Not sure the Cool will take a little more time, but 2011 Lasers is where I mean, are you surprised? Lasers I have a bit of a problem with, but I also want to bring Andrew back in here for a second because he brought up something before the show.
Hey, yo, what's up?
So the first 4 songs on this, I'm not gonna lie, are complete dog trash. He hides he hides behind the production a little bit, and that wouldn't necessarily be his fault. I think it's the fault of the time frame of 2011, where it's like Skrillex and Deadmau5 were really popular, so everybody was going for like the dubstep kind of dance beat, and I think that like I understand why. I like his earlier stuff before that, but then you get
wait, no, we're not doing it. First and foremost, are you telling me you're talking about Letting Go, Words I Never Said, Till I Get There, and I Don't Want to Care Right Now?
I Don't Want to Care Right Now, especially, is very he listened to some emo music, and it was like, all right, cool, we're gonna try and go from there.
I will give you only a tad, just a little bit on I Don't Want to Care Right Now because it's something different, but he makes it work. And if you are at a concert with him doing I Don't Want to Care Right Now, it is pure energy. But Letting Go fits in on Food and Liquor like he did it at the same time. Words I Never Said lyrically is just a punch to America with Skylar Grey when she was at her peak. Until I Get There, Lupe doesn't do too many poppy songs, or he didn't at that point. And that was the one that was, it's more sing-songy, it's more pop, but it's the one where you're like, this is still Lupe. This is the one that's a little bit more upbeat. Afterwards, I Never Said just smacks you in your fucking face. Now, Out of My Head, While a Bop after that, that's the one where you're like, who did you sell your whatever to have that song come out? And if you hear about what happened with him and his label, in terms of this entire album and what he wanted to put on there, he had 2 songs released before, in between the Cool and Lasers, Shining Down and what is the other one? Oh my gosh, that should have been on the album. And as a whole would have made the album better. Oh my gosh, this is really pissing me off that I do not remember the name of the damn song. Anyway, those two songs also are absolutely great. Him and Matthew Santos together. Shining Down is a song with him and Matthew Santos. He does American Terrorist with him on Food and Liquor. And he's the one who's on Superstar on the Cool. And it's another it should have been the third him and Matthew Santos song that was on the album and just was like a linchpin of it. But yeah, I don't. And before we move on, I do want to say, if you haven't heard off, I can't remember which mixtape it's off, but if you've never heard Mean and Vicious, the second verse is one of the, it is my favorite verse in hip hop of all time. Ever.
Loading that right now.
It is just the second verse is just how, again, he's really good at personifying inanimate objects or just using personification to give life to things. And he literally personifies the second verse while he's rapping the second verse. And it is utter brilliance. But again, you're not slandering. Lasers to me is 1, good, 1, great, 2, great, 3 till I get there. Okay, 4, I don't want to care right now. This is different, but I like it. And then it just goes, what happens? Some hit highs. What the hell happened?
Yeah, I remember when that album came out and him going on talk shows, not essentially like slandering the project, but basically being kind of very open, saying that it's not the project that I wanted to make. And he was very, very open about his disagreements with the label and him really wanting to get out of there. I remember him being on the Colbert Report talking about that as well. And you can kind of tell that this is not the complete album he wanted to make.
Yeah, not at all.
So then we move on to 2012 with Food and Liquor 2, which is again kind of like a return to form. They have the spoken word intro on this, and I think that was kind of a trend. I think feeling coming on forward. But
it's his sister who does the spoken word for each of his albums.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it was a nice way to show that he's kind of like not necessarily, yeah, I guess matured, but like he was already doing some pretty heavy stuff to begin with. I like what I've heard from there so far. And then he took a little bit of a layoff, and then he did Tetsuo and Youth. And just like the opening song that I've heard so far, this guy loves anime and he loves Japanese. It's actually a factoid that I wanted to pull up. It was that, what was the name of this? He performs as a frontman of a rock band, Japanese cartoon. It's pretty cool that there's that dichotomy, I guess, of him having the separate love, and it kind of leaks over into this album. A lot of heavy strings and whatnot. Anything to add on those two albums?
So Food and Liquor 2 is the kind of transition I started seeing where his lyricism is still top notch, but his beat selection, I don't think he used his producer Soundtrack as much on these albums as he did on the first two, because Soundtrack is the guy all over the Cool and all over Food and Liquor. But where it's more of, it's got to be a mood listen for a lot of them. So a lot of the albums, from here on out, I kind of pick and choose songs where when I listened to the album first, I was like, this is a great album, but it's really, really hard to play, to have replay value, because it is more dense. It's a lot more of sitting and vibing music, and especially working on the lyrics. And I don't like the production as much, and that goes for both of them. I will say, Tetsuo and Youth is another one that as a whole is it's conceptually great. And one theory that I heard from it, that is, if you play the songs backwards, it kind of is sort of a retelling or a telling of Jesus' resurrection, because they start with they resurrect over you or whatever that was called, and then deliver. If you go backwards, it kind of mirrors it, with Adoration of the Magi, and in the video, the stripper is pregnant, and then delivering. It's just doing it backwards from the resurrection to the death. It's kind of, look into the theory. It's really cool. It made me appreciate it a lot more. So Tetsuo and Youth, I listened to a lot more than Food and Liquor too. But again, still a lot of great lyricism, and a lot of great songs in general.
Yeah. And then he takes, 2016, he took off. And then 2017, there was supposed to be talk of doing these final 3 albums. He was talking about doing Drogus, Skulls, and Roy. And then this later became Drogus and Drogus Light. These 2 other ones. And when you were mentioning earlier how The Cool was a concept album, it's like that makes so much sense. I feel like he likes sticking to those themes. And from what I've heard so far on those 2 albums, I'm really excited because I feel like this is a thriving time in hip hop, especially like 2015 to about 2019 is when hip hop got really good. But yeah.
I finally figured out the name of that other song. It's I'm Beamin'. So if you add Shining Down and I'm Beamin' to the track list of Lasers, that album is so much better. So much better than what it was. But Drogus Light and Drogus Wave. I'll talk about Drogus Wave first. I listened to Drogus Wave one time because, again, he goes into concepts of being a slave on a slave ship and jumping into the ocean to not become a slave. But then they find that there's a civilization down underwater that is thriving, and the slaves are saved by that civilization underwater. And it is, again, lyrically dense, but production-wise, it's like you have to sit there. After the first time I listened to that, I never listened to it again because it's just the replay value is not. Drogus Light is the entire opposite. It is his version of trap music. It is his version of radio trap music to the fullest. And some people listen to it as like, what are you doing, dude? But knowing going into it is like, no, he's doing full on trap. And you remember the song Panda? Panda and I never remember the dude's name, but the dude is like, he doesn't rap very well. But if you heard Panda, he makes a song called Panda. Designer, yes, thank you. He makes a version of Panda, calls it Panda, but it's based off of Panda Express. It's the entire song is about Panda Express, and it is again, it is silly, it is ridiculous, but somehow he makes trap lyrics still mean something. And one of my favorite songs of his recently is off of Drogus Light, and it's called Jump. And Jump again is just a return to that ability to have great production, great lyricism. And one of the most underrated things about him is he is an amazing storyteller. So the song The Cool, so his second album was called The Cool, but it was called The Cool because the song The Cool on Food and Liquor is about a dude who died because he got shot on the corner. And he came back to life, dug himself up out of his own grave, and went back to his corner. So the entire Cool album is about him coming back, him having a relationship with a female personification of the streets, and then again, the personification of death. That's why The Cool is so great. Jump is another storytelling of a female rapper who's on the song with him, who doesn't really rap, but sticks up Lupe to make him write lyrics for him, and their story of her telling them to do that, then them getting in a drive-by, running away from the drive-by, and then beamed up on an alien spaceship. It sounds weird as hell, but my gosh, is it so damn good. The way he can just weave stories that seem to make no sense, it's just with space themes and anime themes, and everybody saw Kick Push as like, oh, he's the skater dude, he's the weird dude. Yeah, he is, and his ability to be real and to be authentic, to show the other side of the streets where there are a lot of kids in the hood and in middle-class neighborhoods and upper-class neighborhoods and black neighborhoods in general that aren't into the streets but know about it because they live there. So they cling to anime, they cling to skating, they cling to sci-fi, and that he is the personification to that. And all of his, and I know we're going through his albums, but he has a string of mixtapes that are just as good. And his ability to do that is amazing.
Yeah, I threw on Jump there for a second, and Gizzle, I think is the featuring artist on there. Yeah, you were right, and like it's not necessarily like rapping, but it's like it gives a certain aura, and like I think you were right there with like the sci-fi kind of elements. I think that was really cool as a way to kind of stand out. And then we get to this year, and he put out an album, Drill Music in Zion. And then we get to first thing, this is the first time where all of his songs are in caps. I'm not sure what the choice is there. From what I've heard so far, it's been okay. Like the line scene is like another kind of intro that kind of continues the trend that he was starting with Food and Liquor 2. Godie's okay, and then Autobotto. I think this is like the big single so far. It's fine. I don't know the name of the actual style, but it's like
I gotta jump in. This album is really good. I actually really like this album a lot. Miss Mural is a dope-ass song that more people need to listen to, but this album as a whole is really, really friggin' good. So Brooklyn, get over yourself.
And speaking of Miss Mural, we can't talk about his albums without talking about the song Mural in general off of Tetsuo and Youth, which is literally seven minutes of just straight spitting, just continuously spitting. Ridiculous. Bar, I will tell you though, it probably is a good album, but I'm kind of with Brooklyn on this one. I listened to it and I was like, lyrically, this is great. Production wise, I'm not running it back. And this is the reason why when you asked this question, Lupe wasn't forefront of my mind, because a lot of his later stuff, he switched up his style. He is an artist, no matter what he comes out with, I'm picking up, I'm listening to it right away. But I know it can either be something that I will listen to forever or something really dense, something really lyrically dense, but production wise, it is again more of a vibe, more chill. Sometimes his way that he rides the beat is a little offbeat, a little on beat, and it's really just making you think about what he is saying. So it's like I have to listen to the album. Lyrically great, but it's a lot of songs that I wouldn't come back to. But there's still like a good 30 to 40 to 50 songs that I will never stop listening to for my entire life. Especially off his mixtapes, especially off of his first two albums, and anytime he gets the production and the lyrics to have that balance, it's just one of my favorite songs ever. Again, I'm gonna keep going back. Fucking Paris Tokyo off the Cool is one of the best songs for the females ever. I love everything about the Cool. I know I keep going back to it, but those two albums are just so damn good.
Understandably so. Like if you've never heard of Lupe Fiasco, please go check out the first two albums.
How have I not mentioned Daydreaming? How have I not mentioned Daydreaming? With Jill Scott singing her ass off, taking the entire first verse to describe the city of Chicago as a robot. It is probably my favorite song of his. Daydream. There's so many songs that he has. But that was another one I cannot go by. I'm a runner, and I have run some half marathons, and I ran one marathon, and Daydreaming is always song number one. Always. And it is a song I can play 3, 4, 5 times in a row. It is my theme music. Whenever MTFO was still a thing and I was able to get into it, that was the song that is my walkout song. It is smooth, but yet hard at the same time, with the tones of Jill Scott taking. Bar, you may know it. What is the song that he samples? It's the song that Severance uses for its theme music. Daydream. I fell asleep beneath the flowers for a couple of hours, and they have Jill Scott. It's just the perfect amalgamation of everything that is Lupe Fiasco. Sci-fi lyricism, great collaborations, storytelling, personification of things. It is a perfect song. Absolutely perfect.
All right. So yeah, again, Lupe Fiasco, incredible. Go check out the first two. I'd also recommend checking out Tetsuo and Youth. But we'll move on to the next question. So this is more so to settle an argument between Andrew and I. What's your favorite song to dance to?
It is by far E40's "Tell Me When to Go." It's so I lived in the Bay Area for 10 years. I went to UC Berkeley, and then I taught there for another 6 years in and out of Oakland. And if you don't know about the hyphy movement, E40, Too Short, Geek the Sneak. But Too Short isn't even that much in the hyphy music. He's just a part of the Bay. But the songs, Tell Me When to Go, Blow Your Whistle, it is just it's when it was at its peak and when I was coming up in high school. And there is a certain thing about just being able to bounce to it and just if you've never heard of like Mac Dre and the Thizzle Dance and just that entire movement is a community movement. And you just get together. Anytime that song comes on, me and my boys are taking over any dance floor at all times. And anything from the hyphy movement will do it for us. But Tell Me When to Go is just straight banger. E40, he's one of the most lyrically confusing and dense dudes ever. If you have ever said any slang word in hip hop, it probably originated from the Bay Area. It probably was helped out by E40, and he was probably one of the first people to say it, or the people around him were the first people to say it. But Tell Me When to Go is nothing but pure damn energy on top of having line dance instructions at the third verse, which just gets you fucking going. I love this song to death, and it is the one song I'm getting up and dance to no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah, so, like I've had the song on the background while you're listening to it. It's great. As a child of the 2000s, I've probably danced to this song at the club and not even realized it. But it reminds me of I forgot the name of the song, but it's like 369, Damn You're Fine. One more time.
Yin Yang is Lil Jon and the Lil Jon with the Yin Yang Twins. It's Get Low. It came out around the time of all of that. Get Low, Snap Your Fingers, Lean With It, Rock With It, all of that.
It's like that song, but a little more refined, and I kind of like it. It's controlled, but I could see this kind of like turning things up. It's
and
a great little find.
Shout out to Keith the Sneak, who's the dude on the second verse. Again, it's when people really started to pay attention to the hyphy movement. That's when I learned about the hyphy movement from the Bay Area, and it's just pure fun.
Yeah. All right. On to question number 3, and this is your favorite song on the current top 500,
which somehow does not have a Nas or Lupe Fiasco song anywhere near any of the last two lists.
Listen. I tried to hold that list on a very high pedestal, and then it broke my heart too many times. So you just learn to accept that it's kind of dumb at times.
Checkmate, Brainiac.
So for me, my favorite song is a song that I've known for a long time, but I've grown to appreciate it more and more and more. The more I've grown up, the more I've gotten older. And if anybody would argue that this is the greatest made hip hop song of all time, I would not fault you at all. And you might think Today Was a Good Day, something by Dr. Dre, something by Eminem, something by Jay-Z. No, it is the International Players Anthem by UGK featuring Outkast. It is again a perfect song that it epitomizes everything about hip hop. First off, the sample and beat is amazing. You start off kind of lo-fi, almost a cappella, Andre 3000 verse, who is top 10 rapper all time, talking about marrying or finding the woman of his dreams. I typed a text to a girl I used to see told her that I found this cutie Bible, whom I want to be, and I apologize if this message gets you down. And it just goes through the smart dude in the crew getting married, and his boys and his girls saying, "Are you sure you want to do it? Don't do it. Reconsider. Read some litter. Sure on the." It's just so good. And then you go from Andre's verse and the 808 and the beat drops into Pimp C. So you go from one of the best lyricists and rappers of all time to one of the godfathers of trap rapping, trap music from Houston. His lyrics are nowhere near as quote unquote good as an Andre 3000, but they are just as impactful. They are just as powerful because he is the pimp of all pimps. He is the one going from saying that from that the song about verse about getting married to how you deal with women when you're a pimp. And Pimp C is, I used to think rappers from the South were all horrible, just all horrible. And as I started growing up, I started to understand, like, okay, no, what they're talking about is real. And maybe they don't have the metaphors, maybe they don't have the intertwining rhyming, but what they're saying is authentic, it's real, it's put together extremely well. And Pimp C is the way Andre 3000 epitomizes out there lyrics that is just going to stop anybody on his tracks. Pimp C epitomizes trap music and the soul of a hustler, the soul of a pimp. And then you go from him, you get the great sample, you get the great singing, and then you go to Pimp C's partner in crime, UGK, and Bun B, who is the perfect example of that. In the middle of the road, he is a hustler, he is a trapper, but he lyrically is great. And you add the little clap in the middle of his verse, and it's just going from lyrics to pimp to hustler to one of the most underrated rappers of all time, because he has to stand in the shadow of Andre 3000. But Andre 3000 consistently says, no, I am not as good as rapper as my partner Big Boy.
Yeah.
Who kills it. This is off the song talking about child support. International Players Anthem has been played as the walkout music and walk-in music for brides across the country. If I got married again and we got married in a courthouse, but if we did a ceremony, we are fucking walking down to International Players Anthem. I have seen countless women practicing, walking down with their bouquet, just to the beat. This is one of the top 3 hip hop songs ever made. Just undeniably, and people don't think about it. And when it was in the top 100, I yelled in happiness because the entire time I was watching y'all show, I was like, they're not going to put that song on there. They're not going to know that song. And I saw it, and a Denzel tear came down. This song is fucking brilliant.
So the first time that I heard this, I think it was Jay Burns mentioned it. We did an episode of Playlist where it was rap groups, and this is what the song they used to represent UGK.
I feel like I was on that I was on that show. I know I was on that show.
Yeah, man, you were on that show.
I was on that show.
It must have been you. I think
it was me. It was me, Rosa, Jay, and I think you.
Yes, it was. Oh man, what a crazy full circle. But yeah, I agree. The sample in this is great. The beat in this is good. Big Boy probably has like a favorite verse, and it's crazy because like I was kind of like, I think I might have been like you, where like Big Boy was my favorite rapper for a while, and then as I got older, I was like, oh wait, no, Andre 3000 is far superior. But the one gripe that I do have with this is the Andre 3000 verse. I think on re-listen, it's just you're almost like
go on.
It's one of the best verses ever done. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
It's not my favorite right now. It's not my favorite Andre 3000 verse. If you want that, you want to go to Pink Channel with Frank Ocean. But so when I hear Andre 3000's verse, I'm just kind of like, kind of like Homer Simpson, where it's just like, come on, throw an 808, like let's get this place bumping. And I get a little impatient.
You did not have to do that. You knew you did not have to do that. How could you have done that? Can you live with yourself?
Sorry.
Every single person knows every single word to Andre 3000's verse because it is the perfect opening before the 808 drops. That's what it is. And you are completely incorrect, sir. But you have your opinion. But it's an incorrect opinion.
That is very understandable. All right, we'll hop on to question number 4. What's your favorite concert? And I want to add on to that question as well. Have you gotten to see any concerts since the pandemic? And has it been kind of a rejuvenating feel, I guess, to kind of go back out and have that experience again?
So I can't remember whether or not it was during the pandemic or I think it was right before it ended. So I would say no, I have not. And that was one thing I was going to say. Concerts is one of the things in my life that I have gone to just disappointingly way too few of. It's the one thing that I just for some reason have not done too much of. That makes me sad. But the last concert I've been to that I can remember that was kind of around right before it hit was a Nas concert, but with Mary J. But my favorite concert was a Nas concert where he brought out Busta Rhymes. So again, you'll hear him a lot, but Nas was one of the first people I thought of when you said favorite artist because I consider him. I consider him for a long time greatest rapper of all time. He's still my top 5. I think he has the best hip hop album of all time in Illmatic. And he is always it's him over Jay-Z all day, every day in the Nas versus Jay-Z thing. Ether is one of the best diss tracks of all time. And Busta is also up there because of just, again, another underrated rapper. Because of his vibe is always a lot more fun. And the fact that he raps so fast, you don't like hear the lyrics that he says, but his ability to put together words. And this was a concert where I was visiting my brother in New York for winter break. And he just said, come on, we're going. And I was like, where are we going? And we just end up at a concert with Nas with about maybe 100, 200 people. And I'm like 20 feet from him. And I had never seen Nas before. He brings out AZ for Life's a Bitch off of Illmatic. People are screaming out, sing, rap Ether, but he won't because he's a respectful dude and won't do a diss track live. Brings out Busta, and Busta just brings the house down. The song of all songs, how you don't have on the top 500 a fucking one mic. And he plays that. And how you don't have that on the top 1? I don't understand you, Rolling Stone. Anyway, he plays one. He goes for like a good 2.5 hours. And it's like just a memory. I remember a bunch because outside of some concerts I went to with my family, like seeing Alicia Keys or something, this was really kind of one of the first concerts I'd ever been to. And his just Nas's discography, Nas's just ability, Busta Rhymes' energy, his ability. It was pure energy in the building. And I just had the greatest time.
Were there any openers for them that you ended up kind of sticking around with after?
It was just a DJ set. Set. And it was a pretty cool DJ set of mixing a whole bunch of hip hop classics. So
okay, nice. All right, on to number 5. Probably my favorite answer so far. Your favorite music video?
Real quick, ask me between the two I chose, who would I pick?
So I know who I would pick. I'm kind of curious as to what Mr. Producer Man or Andrew would pick. And then who would you pick between the two?
Who were the two, real quick?
Missy Elliott and Busta Rhymes.
Yes. That's my answer.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Yes, that's my answer. Yes.
Congratulations, Yuri.
Checkmate, Brainiac.
Yes.
I don't even
Anything.
know. Yeah, I think I don't know. It's really
Anything.
tough. Missy
I
Elliott
have
is
to. I'll tell you this. I have choices. I do have choices, but before I get into that, you said my favorite music video, and I immediately said Missy Elliott or Busta Rhymes. Take your pick. The song isn't called "Take Your Pick." I mean, literally, take your pick of any Busta Rhymes or Missy Elliott video. They are the icons of music video. How the VMAs have given Missy her due with her videos, Busta Rhymes should be right behind it, because they have they changed what music videos were, from Super Duper Fly and the big puffy coat to Get Your Freak On, where the dude spits in her mouth, and the long neck to Work It, where dude gets smacked black, then moving over to Busta. I don't know if you've seen this TikTok recently, or it's whatever it is, an Instagram, where a dude puts a camera in his mouth, and it's a view of him paddling, and somebody put your hands where my eyes can see on the background, and it's literally the video, and it's hilarious, of him just the taking Coming to America and putting it into a bunch of things, and just the fisheye lens, going from that to What's It Gonna Be to Break Your Neck. Every single video the both of them do is utter brilliance, and it is like nothing you've seen before.
So the one Busta Rhymes video that I decided to check out, and I feel like I hit a goal in mind with this one, was "Give Me Some More," and "Give Me Some More" is out there. It is definitely going for some shock horror, but it's great. I love the energy of early 2000s hip hop, because they're just going balls to the wall. Because they saw the 90s and how energetic they were, and they're like, bitch, hold my beer. We're going to keep going.
With Busta, it started in the 90s with Woo Ha, I Got You All in Check. Like, his video vibe was from jump. From jump, just wild, crazy, iconic. You know exactly what it is when you see it. So if I did have to choose between the two, videos for each of them. For Missy, the top two for me are Super Duper Fly and Get Your Freak On. And for me, it's Get Your Freak On, because I think that's when people really, really like. They knew Super Duper Fly, but that was their first one. And we were like, who's this weird chick in this garbage bag sitting on a hill with a wig in a Jeep doing sounds like Verm? Who is this? But then you realize when you get to Get Your Freak On, it's just really, it's a combination of that, but refined, with great choreography. And then for me, for Busta, it's between Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See and What's It Gonna Be with Janet Jackson. And it's What's It Gonna Be with Janet Jackson. The way the chrome, the purple skin tight on Janet, the raindrops of Busta. One of you, every time I watch, I was like, one of them has to go in the cleavage. Has to go in the cleavage, because it's a sexy ass fucking song. It is sexy, and just going through it, and like, there's again like, these videos are so iconic that a lot of people just make memes or videos off of it. And there's a meme of taking a close-up picture of the inside of a cheese grater, and it's just all metallic and all the holes, and somebody said, oh, Busta Rhymes, What's It Gonna Be video. Like, you remember it. But again, being weird and having the T-1000 chrome marching band come out, and when you think about it, you basically are kind of just traveling along with sperm. That's what you're doing in the video. It's just chrome. And then it ends with Busta and Janet next to each other, and he says, close the door. And Janet goes, yeah. And it's again, their videos are just the most memorable things you have ever seen, ever. That you can make videos and know, oh, that's the Busta song. Oh, that's from the Missy video. And it never, and even after this, every video they come out afterwards, they continue to just have the same just amazing visuals and wackiness and craziness that make you, even if you don't like the song, you're like, I gotta watch the entire video. Though it's Missy Elliott and Busta, so there's not really a song you don't like.
I will say this is one of the times where Missy's relationship with Timbaland, I think, pays off really well because he has that same kind of vibe, and like even the energy that he has in music videos is kind of like eerie, creepy, but also like in a kind of positive way. But yeah,
Yeah, because it matches his production. Timbaland's production has always been weird and out there, and like people were not using baby cries as beats.
no.
So it matches perfectly.
I know what
I
that was
hear
aimed
that
at, Rude.
somebody.
I know
I
what
hear
you
that
were aiming
somebody.
at. I don't
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yes,
fact,
I was.
You know what? Hold on. I got a little thing right here for you over there. Bam! Okay.
I don't forget, sir. I don't forget.
Okay, on to question number 6.
Do we have to? Do we have to?
I mean, it's here. Your favorite musical.
I am not a fan of the musicals. I am not. I don't really like them. I think I've grown to appreciate some of them a little more. Like I finally saw 2021 West Side Story, and I actually wanted to see it because when I finally watched the original, I was like, this is a pretty good musical. But anytime a song comes up, for the most part, I'm just like, like I think Chicago is a horrible thing. The play, fine. The movie, no. So I gave 2 as well for this because if one Coho thinks it's a movie and a musical, so I will count it. It's Hamilton. Hamilton is I know a lot of people. I know some people who don't like the really, I don't know how they said it, but like the Dr. Seuss like rapping, but it really isn't Dr.
Okay.
Seuss like unless you unless you were really big hip hop head or you don't know hip hop at all. And it's just kind of like sounds like it fit in the 80s, but they do so much more with that, especially when you actually see the original actors of Lin-Manuel and David Diggs, and Anthony Ramos, and fine ass Jasmine Cephas Jones. Golly, that woman is beautiful. But anyway, I just thought it's so well done. It's so engrossing. It's the music it hits. Not only does the actual the soundtrack of just listening to the songs, all the songs are bops, but the music inspired from the musical, where they take popular artists do the song. So like Usher did Wait For It and things like that. And Immigrants, We Get the Job Done, which is like a line, but they made it to a whole song with international rappers, including Riz Ahmed. I believe it was Riz Ahmed. I think he's on the track. I love that. But if you don't consider it a movie, yes. If you don't consider it a movie, I'm basically going to pick basically the same crew and just put them into a movie, and it's In the Heights. I absolutely adored In the Heights because it gave me music that I actually enjoy when they come off of it. I love the performances. Again, Anthony Ramos is a charming dude who I think is just one of the best up and coming actors. Cannot wait to see him in Ant-Man. Piragua will just be stuck in your head for hours on end if you just say the word Piragua. John M. Chu's visuals on it were just, especially with the whatever the number is for the ticket song, 96,000 or whatever. That pool scene is great. Abuelitas, I don't know the actress, but Abuelita's whole performance, especially her song before she passes. Thank you. The song before she passes is just a tearjerker. And just, I mean, yes, sure, you have to mention the slight amount of colorism, especially with the women, because Dominicans are dark, Dominicans are brown, Dominicans are light. And we should be seeing all of it, but that doesn't always happen. But we did get actually, producer man, is Corey Hawkins Hispanic in any way, or is he just black and was he playing a Hispanic? Because he did a good job too. I'm gonna assume he's like me and he's a half breed. He's a mixed baby. Because that was always something like I was like, Corey Hawkins, I wonder why he's in there, but he's great, cool. He's got to have some Hispanic blood in there somewhere. But I thoroughly enjoyed that movie too. So those would be my two. I will give West Side Story both versions, even though I think I probably like the original a little better. Though Mike Feist's performance was fucking brilliant in that one. But both of West Side Stories were good. But I am not a musical person. If I could just have Bill slam his board, slam his board for me whenever he hears the word musicals, that is the personification of how I feel when it comes to musicals for the most part.
So I haven't gotten around to In the Heights, but I definitely drank the Hamilton Kool-Aid for a while, and still drink it occasionally. I like the different.
If you have a chance to see the play, I got to see the play, and it's fucking beautiful, fucking beautiful.
Yeah. So like of the songs there that I think really hit home. The opening song I think is great, kind of setting the tone of this not quite swashbuckling, but like definitely like old and kind of like colonial times, like kind of have strings sound and whatnot. But then you get into like You'll Be Back, which I think Jonathan Groff is just hamming it up the entire time. Helpless, I think Helpless is probably the song that I would cover. I like I think because it's Ashanti and Ja Rule that do it on the celebrity covers, I believe, which is like the whole
soundtrack
era,
music based on it. Yeah,
music based on that. But then you also get into like I think Satisfied is my favorite song on the entire track. Renee Elise Goldsberry is just killing it. Then you also get into like friggin' the 10 Dual Commandments, Guns and Ships. And then like the one that actually kind of gets me with tears, Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story. It's just the emotional beats that it hits and the earnestness, I guess, that it has at the end. Fun fact, I guess on the fact check, Corey Hawkins, All-American. There is no.
Hey, he fit in just fine. He did. So I still enjoyed the shit out of him in that. My favorite song off of Hamilton has always been Right Hand Man, and I think most of the reason why is because of the performance of the actor who plays George Washington. His performance is so damn powerful.
Christopher Jackson, baby.
Thank you.
Have you listened to the Hamilton polka?
No, I have not.
Okay, do you have headphones in right now?
That's what I went to go get because this new computer I have, for some reason, when my microphone is in, doesn't like to play music, and the sound sounds just weird and off. But the headphones let me hear everything. But I will say the only polka I enjoy comes from Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, so he does a polka of all the Hamilton.
Perfect.
I just throw on like 30 seconds of it. I want to see your initial reaction because it can go one of two ways. You could love this and like they're kind of the takes that he does on certain songs, or you could think that it's garbage, like a lot of people do.
So I'm not going to be able to play it in my headphones because you all are in my headphones.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah.
I will report back, or I will mute you while this is happening, and you could just continue to talk about Hamilton and In the Heights.
Andrew, I don't think we've gotten an official take on you for Hamilton. Why don't we get your 2 cents?
Hamilton's amazing. It's not in my personal top 10 musicals of all time. I understand why it would be in some people's, genuinely. I don't know if it got the Pulitzer Prize, and I guess I'm okay with that. Because
oh man, sorry.
So the thing with this is that it's like the closest thing to verse that we have in theater now. And I love verse. So great. Also, the room where it happened might be...
I was just gonna say that we never even
Washington on Your Side. That's the best song in the show.
It's okay. I thought that was okay, but I also have Wiz Khalifa's version in my head, and Wiz is just okay to me. Also, I had heard of the Hamilton polka before. I don't think Weird Al misses, so I enjoyed it because
No.
I don't think Weird Al ever misses. So,
Oh, it's great. Okay, on to question number 7. This is where some pitchforks might be getting got out by the chat, I guess. Your most overrated act.
there is a rapper who has been deemed greatest rapper alive, one of the greatest rappers of all time. He is good. He's pretty okay. Actually, probably a little bit better than okay sometimes. But he is not the greatest rapper alive in any way, shape, or form. Never has, never will be. And Lil Wayne is one of the most overrated fucking acts I have ever seen, ever.
What?
He is just look, and he's overrated because y'all, whoever y'all is, the verbal y'all out there who put this title on him as the greatest ever. He had the greatest.
You can just say Caleb Coho. Like, you don't have to say y'all. It's Caleb is one of them.
No, Caleb Coho would not fit in this, y'all, because Caleb Coho is white as hell, and I'm talking about the blackest of black people that I know. But Caleb Coho too, and all you white boys who put it out there as well. Look, Lil Wayne is good. Lil Wayne had the greatest, maybe some of the greatest run of popularity in work ethic and the ability to put words together sometimes. But his early work of like The Block is Hot and Bling Bling when Cash Money was like, that's when I grew up. Like, the South is trash. And going back to that, those are not the songs that I realize are better than I thought. They're still pretty bad, even though they're fun. And like, people say, oh, you got to listen to the Carter. You got to listen to the Carter 2. You got to listen to every time I listen to it, I'm like, no, this is just okay. He'll say some he has great one-liners. But I'll ask this. Do you care if I actually say the N-word? Or do we want to just keep that off?
I don't care.
So he'll like, I love off of the Carter 4. There's the intro, there's a intro, an outro, and interlude. All the same beat. The intro is him. The interlude is Tech 9 and Andre 3000. And then the outro is Shine, Bun B, Nas, Busta Rhymes. In which Nas gives one of the best lines I've ever heard in my life, but that's another story. But I love that song. I love that, just especially when it's just a 9-minute, they play it back to back to back. And Lil Wayne will drop a gem, but then he'll say something like, real nigga, proud of who I am. I'm like, come on, dude. The simplest shit. And it just goes back to saying the same things that aren't that clever when it thematically, or it's just about money or women or cars, and not in a more lyrically dense or a lyrically thought-provoking way. Now, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying I actually say he's a pretty great rapper, but he would not make my top 10. He would probably not make my top 15. He probably wouldn't make my top 20, maybe 20 to 25. But saying he's the greatest rapper alive, when people like Nas and Jay-Z and Lupe Fiasco and Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, and at the time before he also had a downward spiral, Logic, and Eminem, the dude don't touch Common. He don't touch Cube. He don't touch LL and Kids. Yes, LL Cool J was a rapper, and he is considered one of the greatest rappers of all time. If you don't like actually know that, he is like songs like A Milli. There are people who hate it. I actually really like it. I really like 6 Foot, 7 Foot, but they're good songs that lyrically are just good songs, and that's it.
Jeez.
I cannot. Anytime this comes up, he is the first one I think of, because I don't understand greatest rapper of all time. I don't get it at all.
Hi, Andrew Barr here, sponsored by Sour Cream. So would you say that influences your decision on the song Back That Ass Up not being top 500 worthy? Because Lil Wayne's on that one, and
You mean the opposite, Brooklyn, right? Because I said Back That Ass Up is top 500 worthy, 100%. Because if you are the most influential half a second of half a beat of Back That Ass Up, every woman in the 500-mile ratio is running to the dance floor. That's how good that song is.
all right,
Again, because I don't believe that was Brooklyn. Maybe you who said that.
I'm
'Cause I was
more
mad
of a oh man, what's the Ice Cube one? I can do it, put you back into it.
It's a great song, but it is not Back That Ass Up. Not even shape or form. See, that again, that proves Lil Wayne has like drop it. He was the one who created the line "Drop It Like It's Hot" off of Back That Ass Up. He has great one-liners, and he can do club hits. But club hits and one-liners, greatest rapper of all time, does not make you. And again, I have listened to the Carter. I've listened to some of his mixtapes, and I will start it, and I will sit there, and I will never get through them because I'm like, I don't hear what y'all hear. I just don't. I bought the Carter 5 and was like, let me go really give the Carter 5 a listen when it came out. And the only thing I still listen to every once in a while is a song with him and Kendrick Lamar, because the rest of it is like, no, it's not good.
Yeah, the only other thing that I wanted to add is that when I think about his singles, and I think it's like A Milli and Lollipop, I put Lollipop with like Beverly Hills of just trash singles by acts that are good otherwise. I just don't understand how somebody like as lyrically renowned as Lil Wayne is supposed to be comes out with something like fucking Lollipop, which is like
because he's not always as lyrically renowned as people give him credit for. He can be, but he normally, as a full song front to back, doesn't put it all together. That is why.
Yeah. Okay, on to question number 8. So we have to honor the movie trivia aspect of this community and just the general love of movies. And in movies, usually the great ones, they have some musical elements of a score. Rue, what is your favorite score?
This one was hard because I kind of suck at scores. Like I kind of suck at remembering what they were. It wasn't really until I got into this community where I really started paying attention to the scores. So I had a couple. I had one or two in my head, and really it was just the one or two of like my favorite movies, like Inception. I thought of that, but like if I really think about it, like I remember bits and pieces of it. Not bits and pieces. I remember it, but I'm like, this kind of also just sounds a lot like a lot of the swooping and big, like a whole bunch of other things that Hans Zimmer has done and John Williams has done. And then I started to go to things like, all right, the Harry Potter score, the original one is brilliant. The Star Wars score is brilliant. The Jaw score is brilliant. Michael Myers score and soundtracks are brilliant. But there's one of my favorite movies ever, and it's the one I thought of that when I think of the movie, the score automatically pops into my head. And it's the one that I'm like, I know what this is. I love this. And it just gives me, it just brings me back to the movie and how much this is one of the first times I've like paid attention to a movie and the score elevates it. The score makes the movie better for me. And that's Ocean's 11. And just the kind of like Rat Packy kind of vibe of the just Ocean's 11 theme. I don't know the names of the songs, but just it's the one you're thinking of right now. That is like if you put the DVD in and you're playing and the song is playing on the DVD over and over and over, that's the one you're thinking of. It sounds like Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra got on a song, but like traveled to 2001 and did it in 2001. Like it's their song, and then also the song or the musical piece at the end where they're all staring at the fountain. It's quick, it's upbeat, it's jazzy, and it's so damn memorable, and it just puts a smile on my face, just like because the movie puts a smile on my face, and it fit perfectly. It fit perfectly with the Vegas vibe, the casino vibe, the heist vibe, and it's probably my favorite. But I wouldn't go out saying like I ever put anything on like on an iPad. Like I would listen to it, What I will say though, it just reminded me of the Giacchino's Batman theme from the Batman. That is another one that has the same thing where I hear that I'm like, damn, that is beautiful. That is great. But Oceans was the first time where I really was like, wow, this is Ocean's 11. I know exactly what it is when I hear it, and I'll never forget it.
So, thank you for making me rewatch this movie again. I love this movie, and I never thought to pay attention to the score, because I think it kind of just naturally kind of played into the heistiness of it itself. But yeah, this movie is kind of like a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, and hear me out on this. So you have the bun, which is like the setting and like the production value and whatnot. Then you have the meat, which is the script. The script is the best part of that movie, and all the characters. The peppers and like the onions, I guess you would say, are like the highlights of the individual performances. So whether that's George Clooney, whether it's Andy Garcia being a dick, fucking Matt Damon steals the show from time to time. Julia Roberts has fun little bits. But then the score is the cheese. And what I mean by that is the score kind of sets up the tension for everything moving forward. It kind of like is like the status of the heist and kind of the condition of it. So like when they're going down, like when they're going down through the lasers and they're cutting the power, there's a sense of relief afterwards from the score. I'd say, okay, like we're back on plan, and I like that kind of vibe. Birdman kind of does a similar thing, but I think it's done better in this. But also, what I like about the score is that it kind of pays homage, I guess, tonally to the original, and that it just has that Rat Pack sort of charm and swing to it. And I think that's kind of neat, given the admittedly facelift, I guess, of recasting and all these new performances and whatnot. But yeah, just a great time, and like just it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's there when it needs to be.
Yeah. I was a little confused when you said Birdman, because we just talked about Lil Wayne, but I was like, how is Baby? What happened to that boy Birdman have anything to do with Ocean's 11? But that's just sorry, I was confused for a second.
That's all good. Okay, on to question number 9. Your favorite soundtrack?
So this one was a little hard. I kind of went to like waiting to exhale, waiting to exhale, waiting to get on Microsoft Excel and do some spreadsheets. And there were a couple other ones. One that came to mind before my favorite, which is a surprising one. The Bad Boys 2 soundtrack is really, really good. Shake Your Tail Feather and La 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 by Jay-Z. Like, if you go back to that soundtrack, there's a lot of great songs on there. But it ended up being, for me, that's next. Yeah, I did. You also gave away my number 10, but whatever, you can fix that in post. It's the Black Panther soundtrack. K-Dot murdered that. He put his hands all over it. And it just thinking about all the songs, 10, also known as X, with him and Schoolboy, with the African vibes, just go, somebody pop all day, somebody on their way, and you know it's about to hit. The song with him and Vince Staples is great. Even with Future doing the dumbest la-di-da-di-da, King's Dead is still so damn good. And then the beat switch into that, and then it's what's the singer's name that does the little intro? James. He sings on a lot of rap songs, especially with actually, I don't know who does the singing part in between the first part of King's Dead and the last part. Is it Bon Iver or is it James Blake? One of the two.
James Blake.
James Blake. Thank you, James Blake. His singing on that. A Weekend song that I like. And Pray For Me. I think that's the name of it. And All the Stars was nominated for an Oscar. Even though
the Stars should have won. Shallow is trash.
Yeah, actually, okay. When they sung it, when Bradley and Gaga sung it, I kind of saw a little bit, but I was like, I'm not too mad at it. But All the Stars is great, even though you don't know what SZA is saying in the chorus. Baby, be nice and Jesus, let me know. All the stars are closer. All the stars are no. So we don't know what she's saying, but it doesn't matter.
No.
because it's great. The song with him and Khalid, it's just a great album from front to back and gets you on a lot of artists you would never know about. Like so many people know Kendrick Lamar, but they don't know Ab-Soul, who's a part of the TDE crew, and he puts Ab-Soul on one of the tracks, and it's from front to back just great songs.
Yeah, there's some really good notable cameos on here. So you have like 2 changes here for a bit. Anderson .Paak is probably my favorite one. But then you gotta talk about and then you got to talk about "Pray for Me." I think that is a song that goes beyond the soundtrack. I think it's like a great song in general. Probably go down as one of the best pop songs of the decade. I just think the energy that Kendrick has in that song in particular, and the way that the Weeknd plays of it, because he has a much higher register, and then even in the movie itself, like they acknowledge that song is playing in that moment. I think that's always a cool time.
And one of my favorite songs, going back to the hyphy movement, it's the song by SOB and RBE, "Paramedic." And what I love about K-Dot so much is that he represents California so much. And even though he's from LA, he made sure to get a Bay Area act like SOB and RBE for "Paramedic." And it's hard, it's gangster, it's a bop, and it gets you moving. You're like, oh, these boys are from the Bay. You know they're from the Bay because of the beat. When it drops, and it has a little like that talking intro, but then the beat drops, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm back in the Bay Area. Let's do this. It's the biggest this face on. So good, so good.
So at the time of recording this, it is before Halloween, actually. So Black Panther: Wakanda Forever has not come out yet. How are you feeling? Yeah, how you feeling about that? I guess soundtrack wise, like even the trailers, the song usages and how they transition is unreal.
Freaking that transition from "No Woman No Cry" to "All Right" was it takes a lot for me to cry. And I did not cry at the trailer, but I saw it and I was like, they're there. And if they would come out, they'd come out. That just I am Thames is an artist. Thames is an artist that is just, she is killing it right now. And she is going to be killing it for a long time to come. And I can't wait for people to just know more about her. So I'm very excited for that. Very excited to see what the soundtrack's going to be like. But it'll probably be a lot more somber, and it'll also, because of the inclusion of Talocan and Tanacuerta and the Hispanic, I am actually really interested to see if K-Dot it seems like he's still curating it, but if just based off of, there were 3 songs that were released after the trailer, and it had the Aztec Mayan cover art on it, but for Talocan, for the fictional city of Talocan or whatever. And I know he's using a lot of Caribbean vibes, and I'm really interested to see how much of hip hop, Caribbean, but also Latin American music and Central American, Central Caribbean music for people from PR, people from DR is going to go into that. That I'm excited to see if he incorporates that, because just like Black Panther did for Black comic book movies and Black people in the superhero realm, as much as it's not his movie, I feel like Namor is going to take reins of this movie and not let you go. Just as much as everybody else is going to. And I am excited as hell because, yes, Black Panther were for Black people, but I am a mixed baby. I am Hispanic and I am Black, and I am getting both of them at the same fucking time in this movie, and I cannot wait.
Nice. All right, on to the last question to close it out. What is your favorite song to perform or sing?
So as you heard while I tried to do the singing from International Players Anthem, I can't sing. Like, it doesn't happen. So when I perform, I rap. And if you haven't noticed, a lot of the same artists just keep coming up. A lot of Lupe Fiasco, a lot of Nas, Busta Rhymes just coming right back. And even though this is not his song, he is the reason I performed this song. And it's Look at Me Now by Chris Brown, Busta Rhymes, and Lil Wayne.
I was just going to say, really, most overrated act, but also in your favorite song to perform.
Because it's not, but I usually perform. I don't perform his part. I have to perform Chris Brown's part because the part I perform is Busta's part. Because as a kid and as a teenager and as an adult, I made it my point when a very, very fast, rapidly paced, rapidly rapped song comes out, I try to learn the lyrics. If you haven't heard of it, if you don't know who Tech Nine is, go look into who Tech Nine is because he is one of the exactly one of the most successful independent rappers ever. He is amazing. He has this song, and he's known for rapping very fast, and he calls it chopping. And he has a song called Worldwide Choppers, which basically gets the fastest rappers in the world. Him, Twista, Busta, I think his name is Twisted Metal or something like that. And it's like 6 or 7 dudes, a couple of foreign rappers, and they are the fastest rappers of all time, rapping fast as hell. And I know every single Yellow Wolf. I know every single English word in it, and it is extremely fast. And Look at Me Now. As soon as I heard that song, I'm like, I am learning Busta's part because I feel like I'm running. I feel like I gotta get away. But I know that I don't, and I don't ever stop because I gotta win every day. You don't really want to stop me. Just know that you will never flop me. And I just screwed up because I don't have the song, but I know it. And if I really tried, I could stop and do it again. But I don't care because I didn't want to do it the whole way, but I know it. That's the part that I sing or I rap all the time. Every time I come in, I gotta set it, then I gotta go, and then I gotta get it, then I gotta blow, and then I gotta shred it in a little thing, and they get be doing because it doesn't matter because I'm gonna get it. See, I do know it. It's just if I don't have the song, I actually hear myself, and it makes it weird because I don't like hearing myself rapping. But if the song is there, I can do it. I love that part. I love learning that part. So I have to get through Chris Brown's part so I can get to Busta's part, and then I give it off to somebody else for Lil Wayne, even though I know that verse as well.
Okay. Yeah. This is a great song. I forgot how awesome this one is. This came out in the Vine era, and Vine kind of killed it, but also kind of like, I don't know, there's some humor on it to it because a lot of people were memeing like Busta's verse in that. And my favorite one of those is like, it's Busta doing the first couple seconds, and then it's a baby afterwards, and it's doing this thing that you do to every baby. Like,
yeah, that was hilarious. They even got Peter Dinklage to do the verse at a Super Bowl Doritos commercial.
That's good spending, because considering the Super Bowls are what they're probably like $5 million for every 30 seconds at least.
Yes, but I wasn't mad at it because it's Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage is a G. So.
Nice. All right. Well, that's gonna wrap things up. We'll bring Andrew back out if he's kicking around.
Hi. Sorry. What?
What? Yeah. Just wanted to bring you out, everybody here. Thank you guys for tuning in to the first episode of Setlist. Rue, if there's anybody that you would want to be on this show or they want to hear answer these questions, who would you want to hear?
So I'm gonna give 2 answers because I know my immediate one, but my immediate one would be very similar to me. He's a hip hop head. He also has a lot of other musical tastes as well, but it's Jay Burns, Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang's for the children. Go look for Old Dirty's Chinese restaurant in fan leagues near you next year. But he would be great to hear because he has a lot of the same taste as I do, but also he listens to a lot more underground rap than I do as well. So it would be great to hear that. On the other side of that, that's not similar to my taste because I'm mostly a hip hop and R&B guy. I would have to say, I don't know why. It's two guys. I don't know why the both of them come to mind, but the first one, I don't know why it came to mind, but I actually want to know his musical taste. It's Robert Kastner. And then because I don't know what he listens to, but I know he, like, when I mention hip hop acts, he knows it. But when I mention other acts, he knows it. When I mention R&B acts, he knows it. And then that reminded me of his partner, Jake Meltzer, who I feel like his musical taste is very similar to mine because his movie taste is very similar to mine. So when I bring up movies like Class Act And we're not talking to somebody old like Brian or Kirk, but my age, and or Brown Sugar, and Jake is like, oh yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's like he's on the same page with me. I feel like that kind of same stuff where very honestly, the majority of this community, or at least 75% of the community, probably never listened to any of the songs or a good amount of the songs that I brought up today, especially not from Lupe Fiasco. But he would, or he would listen to acts that a lot of the other people in this community would not listen to, on top of whatever other his other musical tastes are like. So I know you said 1, I gave you 3, and plus I just like those gentlemen. They're really, really cool. And I could keep spouting them out: Melissa Woody, Peggy Ovens, but I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna just keep going and going and going.
All right. Yeah, not sure who we're gonna have next week, but tune in. I guess it'll be 2 weeks from now. Yeah, cheers, guys, and as always, drive safely.